We are back. So, today we're going to talk about drawing. Just kind of how to get better at drawing. So, let me just see this here. Choose your weapon. This is a lead holder, and this is what I would suggest. Or just use a regular pencil. A mechanical pencil, like a normal one with a little lead, it catches too much. A nice pen like this is going to be too fast, and this is going to catch a little bit too much, and a brush is really going to be too quick. Now I would suggest changing that up. As you start to get some time in on drawing, it's once you go to a new tool, it'll be really uncomfortable and different. And then when you go back to yours, the original one, you'll be way better with it. You kind of understand some of the mechanics of drawing and style that's implemented. Draw circles and figure eights. Draw them until people think that you're crazy. And you can make art out of your circles. But these good circles, right, getting them... I do it all the time. You guys have maybe seen me do it before. I do these circles. Drawing is a hand-eye coordination. This is a kung fu, and you have to practice it. If you don't draw a lot of stuff, try to do this once a day, even if it's just for a little bit. Doodle it. If you feel uncomfortable with, getting a journal and blank pages, feels daunting, just get a regular line journal, and I would suggest writing in it as well, but doodle in there and it won't feel as weird. I've done that before. And what happens with drawing, even if you've been drawing for a while or whatever, is people get this you start drawing things, you have a weird way of going about it. I guess we go about drawing the way we think that we should, I guess. And you need to learn lines, okay? Even when you're going slow and you're getting you're figuring it out, you'll know what line you're looking for, right? The beauty of lines, it's a whole art on its own. And so these circles, you want them to be big enough that they're outside of your writing range, right? A little bit bigger than that. Because you guys all have beautiful lines, whatever when you write in whatever language you write in by hand, if people still do that. Even if you think you have bad handwriting, mine is horrible, And I recently started going in all caps because that happens, I crash. But the worse your handwriting it is, usually the nicer your lines are. But they're more chaotic. It'll take some while to tame them and to work with them. So do your circles. This is not something just I do. Like a lot of people do this. I have teachers, a lot of people I know that are professional artists do circles and figure eights, and then some sort of do the figure eights backwards too, and your circles backwards. And then start shading them in. And if you're using one of these pencils, you don't have to. You just get your finger wet, or not even wet if it's just grimy. Turn it into a nice sphere, right? Do these until people think you're crazy. Or make art out of it. Do circles on pages, maybe vary the size a little bit anyway. Yes, one of the main things is, with drawing, you got to spend time on it. It's not as bad as doing a diet or a workout routine, because there's a payoff and you don't have to do it as consistently or as much. It's not as tough. I don't know, maybe that's just for me or people who enjoy it. It's so cold out here. I'm starting to shiver. After your cubes, after your circles, you go to the cubes, get your squares. And when you're doing these, like, maybe in the beginning of this, you're gonna feel like when you're learning how to write, like you're forcing it and it's looking weird. You gotta start having that faith to whip it around, and get that circle in there. And then when you go to the box, I'm not doing a perfect one, and this is what sketching is, okay? You do a bunch of them, and your mind is figuring out as you go, like where you want it to be, where you want to make it darker, right? And if you want, you can go into the pen later. After you get to those, you go to the cubes, all right? The shivering's making a whole nother level to the wildness. Okay. Shade them in, all right? If you don't know how this works, when you make a three-dimensional cube, see that yet? It's a square or rectangle with another one just like it off center, okay? If you need to, trace it out with something. Put something down, trace it, move it down a little bit and trace it, and connect your lines. And then this shading should be in the same direction as those lines. And when you're doing that, I want you to think about where it is, where your brain's setting up, like, this is this shape. You're learning to think in 3 dimensions, or at least as much as you can. My teachers, a lot of them for life drawing are like, don't draw with lines, right? Because they, especially with like larger shapes, they're like, try to describe it with anything else. And because 3 dimensions isn't, this is a model that has been kind of produced over time. It's not really real either, but it's closer, and it gets you into your mind thinking in shapes, dynamic shapes. And practice your perspective, right? You make a line, 2 dots on it, you make a cube right there. Connect those. You can do this with a ruler if you want. It's gonna be right there, okay? And then what I would suggest is moving on from that. So we're gonna combine both of them, all right? Start figuring out your cubes. This would be you're going to that horizon line higher to be able to get that cube, okay? And then after you get it, start doing dice, all right? And so for dice, this is really good because it trains your mind to think on this plane, right? Which way it's going. Because you're going to make that circle something like this, right? And then you're going to do a little inside for it, which blown up, what that is it's 2 ovals right next to each other. I just did 2 on accident, but it's that same concept of the square and off-putting it. You're doing a circle and then another circle right there, all right? And that's what that little notch is inside of there. And then you're usually going to shade the inside of it. This wouldn't be seen, or this side of it. And you set that up on there because you can tell, right? Like if I drew this like this, it doesn't look like it's appropriate, right? It needs to be an oval like this. There's a way to figure this out with lines and geometry. You can break that up and it'll work with that. If you don't know, you get a circle out of a square. You find the center of it right there. You get your lines through there, and then it connects through there, right? And so if that square is going like this, because we have our perspective, it's the same idea. Y'all, if y'all been drawing for a while, do this. It's really fun, and it's so good for you. Okay, it'll get you that shape. Whatever, if this dice was looking like this, we'd have that, and we'd have that off-centered one. And after you've done them off-centered, you draw it out a few times, I want you just to start imagining it, like how much of a sliver should be there if that other circle was there. That's all we're gonna do for today. I want you guys to work on this like all the time. I still do this stuff, okay? This is like, it's the fundamentals of everything. Everybody has their own style all this other stuff. And you can turn all of these shapes and everything into so many things that look nice without being able to, what we consider being able to draw. What people don't understand is like almost all artists and artwork that you see is planned out, and it's a style and almost a gimmick that's been practiced over the years. It's been brought from something else, such as this, right? People get a thing down and then they improve on it slowly over the years. I was like, when I was drawing, like, I didn't like that people all did like the same thing. They would do the same drawing over, they would do whatever. And I still don't like when I do that. But it's just kind of what happens. People have this idea that we could just like draw anything. We have this idea, like, it doesn't work like that. You build from a certain place. You start somewhere. And if you just understand that and you start building things out of what you're making instead of what you want to make, you're gonna make great stuff. Make some buildings out of these, make whatever, make some abstracted plants. I don't know. And of course, people. We're gonna go over that later. Hope you guys enjoyed. Y'all do a challenge or something, all right? Do 15 minutes of drawing every day or doodling. Take care, guys.